Good morning. We're over in Hebrews, or excuse me, we're not in Hebrews.
We're in James.
We're in James, James 2. Uh, the sin of partiality is our heading in our ESV edition. So, what was striking you this morning?
I love how it builds. It starts off with talking about a very concrete example of the two people, the rich man and the poor man, and how you treat them differently, or how it's potentially a time of prejudice for them. And then he builds forward and starts talking about loving your neighbor and treating all people the same way. And then it builds up even further and talks about how you have to keep all aspects of the law, but now the law has changed, and the law is to love your neighbor as yourself. And then it switches, or it seems to switch a little bit. The heading even changes, and it says faith without works is dead. And this is where I think a lot of people get themselves tripped up. There's huge arguments over a works-based faith and a faith-based faith. And I think where people get tangled up is whenever they start at verse 14 and read forward to 26, instead of starting at the beginning of the argument, which is verse 1, because it builds from how you treat one person at a time to how you treat society to how your thinking should be about it. And if your thinking about things is that you love the other person, that you're responding in mercy, there's no way that you can have responding in mercy as your ingrained action and not have a very works-filled faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the example that they use is seeing someone who's cold and hungry and saying, go be warm and fed, and not doing anything to make that happen. But it's not just about that. It's about your whole attitude of living out your faith in all areas of your life, not just in the time that you're tucked away in your closet in prayer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this particular chapter, especially where it was talking at the beginning about the loving your neighbor. The video that we saw the other day on, I forget which place it was, but basically there was a man, and he was dressed kind of shabbily, looked kind of like a vagrant. He starts coughing, falls to his knees, and people just ignore him. And it's like, and he's there, what the video say it was like over 15 minutes,
yeah.
or...
And nobody stopped to help.
Yeah, all these people just walking by. And they were showing a point, because there was an actual situation in which a woman was in a waiting room and she fell over, and the people in the waiting room didn't help her. And this was in a hospital, of all places. They just ignored her. They just thought she was, I don't know, drunk or passed out or whatever. They offered no assistance. I believe she died, if
she
memory
did die.
serves me right. But then they flipped the video.
Yeah.
And they went and had a guy who was dressed in a suit and tie do the exact same thing, exact same place, exact same amount of people going by. And he goes and coughs and falls to his knees, and there's like a whole crowd of people that comes around, and suddenly it's like a big, oh my gosh, how can we help you? How can we help you? And that's totally so wrong. So
I also loved this part over here, where, and I had to look at the footnote because I wasn't familiar with the phrase. But verse 12 says, so speak and act to those who are to be judged under the law of liberty. And So I looked up what the law of liberty was. And the little footnote part says, true freedom is freedom to obey God and do what pleases Him. The law of Christ provides freedom from sin through the gospel. In the context of James's discussion of rich and poor, he may also be suggesting that God's law will set the poor free from prejudice, oppression, and exploitation. And that makes sense, because if everyone is working toward reaching out to all people and to honoring all people and to loving all people, then that oppression and prejudice and exploitation will go away, because you're not going to tolerate that. It's going to have a shift in the balance of seeing some people as throwaway people and some people as worthy of saving, or worthy of protecting.
So, read through James 2 today, not Hebrews, James 2, and give us your thoughts, and share this video out and provide feedback. Thanks.